Hey, beauties. Good evening to you. Yeah, I got my ring glued back in. The little stone. Beautiful people. So I saw something on Pink Wall. Sometimes I look at it, when I see it. And if I see something ridiculous, I just scroll past it. But I saw this one and I said, let me listen. So it's this radio host, of some program. She was basically, the gist of what she was talking about is, well, what we caught, what I understood from it. She was talking about, back in the day, men, they want a woman, a freak in the sheets, but a lady in the streets. But she was saying, not in all cases, you do have some men who want a sort of, and then she became descriptive, like she was saying, the crebe women, the trigger foot, that long time terminologies. Then back in the day, when long time cussing days, I would have said trigger foot or trigger foot. Trigger foot, I used to hear them say, or crebe, buto kind of girl, butter ears and them sort of something. That's a long time terms. Uh, and so on, that, it's a lie. They do want a little of both. They may not necessarily marry the woman, but they deep down they're attracted to women with a sort of a Jezebel. She did mention that word, Jezebel, like quality or attitude or whatnot. It's not just being a freak in the sheets and a lady in the streets, but freak in the sheets, a sort of a freak in the streets, maybe being a tough cookie in the streets. I don't know of that, because one of the fundamental things about men is that they love respect. Whether them is a bad man, a good man, in between man, they love respect. They like to be in charge. Their natural inclination is to be in charge. So that part I'm a little bit, I can't say what she's saying is false. I don't talk to every man, and each man is different. It's just that I'm a little bit surprised by that particular data, but it is what she had promulgated. And I said to myself, let me look at what the comments, would say. And, women were very, very much not pleased. They felt that she was putting down women. And, they started to look for every little fault that they would see in her and become very vitriolic as well. And, throw back, punches, verbal punches at it. I think only one person who made a comment said what she said is true. Well, that first part of the theory that she had posited, even I remember Betty White's song "No Pain, No Gain." It was a be a lady in be a like she would say, be a freak. It's not freak she used in the song. Be a freak in the sheet, be a lady in the street, something like that. No pain, no gain. She was telling women that, man, you better perform in the bedroom, but he wants you to be a lady on the road. He wants you to represent him well. That's a general. I don't know if because generations have changed, if that mantra has really changed, because there are certain innate things about men that will remain until Jesus comes. There are certain innate things about women that will remain until Jesus comes. So I'm not sure about that one. As I said, I can't say what she's saying is not so. The only thing though that I will, I'm not going to per se be vitriolic towards her. I don't think how she was promulgating the message was kind of, it was hurtful and was not so much fair. Because one of the things she has to realize is that we have been schooled as Jamaicans to be classist. We have schooled to say the lower class, they're over there, they're down there. We don't mix with them because they're like plagues. And that's just a reality. That is how we have been schooled as middle class or upper class men and women. We have been schooled that way. And that is why the man will not, when he sees a freak in the streets and a freak in the bed, he will only keep her as a freak under the quiet, but he will never take her out in the public because she's a freak. She's a Jezebel, she's low class, and whatever it is, the words that the woman had used, not understanding the unfairness in that. There is a movie that I would want everyone to watch, My Fair Lady. I watched that years ago, but that movie has left an indelible mark in my mind. I have not forgot the movie. So that woman who played My Fair Lady, she would be like the woman that girl described, like you would say the crebe, butterfoot, triggerfoot. It's a white woman, white man. And he was quite witty, very feisty, very facetious, Like he would use his words. His words were sometimes abusive, under the quiet. But he used that methodology to get her to become like a swan, a lady. She spoke, in what you'd call broken English. It was improper. The grammar was off. And he never stopped until that woman transformed into a lady. She started to walk with poise and dignity. She spoke well. She looked refined. So what this woman may fail to realize is that, all right, you call him krebe krebe, butterfoot, triggerfoot, butter ears, butu, whatever word you want to use, vitriolic words or rancor. There is that possibility of them moving from being a freak in the streets into a lady in the streets while still maintaining that freak in the bed. So it becomes a double positive, because they may improve in being in that freak in the sheets even more, become better, while becoming that swan that man desires, because they would have already had the characteristics of a good woman. It's just that they just had some rough edges that needed to be sanded down. In other words, if they had a good heart, good soul, good mind, although the soul is a composite of the mind, the will, and the emotions, and they're now being trained how to be a woman, how to be a lady. They would have now encapsulated what the message of Proverbs 31 is promulgating. And I say the word is, I could say was and is and continues to promulgate. Don't tear down your women like that. Yes, you do have some women, and I go more on the basis of character. If you're hitting out people with evil character, I can understand that, but don't put yourselves like you're above, because you know that it is unfortunate that we live in a society, especially here in Jamaica, where classism is systemic. We're trained to look down on people from the lower echelon of society. We are subliminally and overtly trained that way. And many of us have to retrain our thinking. We have to retrain our minds to accept people for who they are. We may not agree with certain behaviors. We may not agree with certain lewd and crude and vulgar, boisterous behaviors, but it's what they know. It is what they know. What we need to hit out again against is inequality where inequality should not be, inequity where inequity should not be, injustice, unfairness. We must hit out against the evils in our society, evil actions, evil ways, evil attitudes. But don't talk about butter ears, because that butter ears woman can become that Proverbs 30 woman tomorrow, trained, totally transformed. When I watched that movie years ago, I still remember it like I watched it yesterday. Because many of them can unlearn and then relearn, or unlearn some of the, bad, I don't even like to say unwise or bad, information and attitudes, and relearn, transform themselves. Some of these things are learned behavior that can be unlearned. It may take time, yes, just like with anything. With any bad habit, it takes time, years sometimes. But listen to me, who you see today, you may not see tomorrow. Totally different. Speaking differently, acting differently, just need the training. So many of them are, as you would name, I don't even like saying it because I don't believe in putting down women. Butter ears, chiggerfoot, butu, whatever it is, zutupek, all the negatives can become that swan tomorrow. And that man can end up really and truly falling in love with that woman over the one from the upper echelon in society. Because the one in the upper echelon, while she may not behave like that, what you'd call butu, like a chiggerfoot or butter ears, or it doesn't mean she's not a Jezebel. It doesn't mean she's not a Jezebel. Jezebel has nothing to do with where you are from. You can be from the lower class, the middle class, or the upper class. It is about character. It is now about character. That is what you must hit out against. Not in terms of, she's from the ghetto, she's from the inner city, the garrison. Do away with her, sort of a thing. It was unfortunate. I wish you had approached it totally differently and speak more on the basis of character, and speak in the third person as opposed to speaking so, vociferously against these women. Guys, follow me on TikTok. subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share.